Hello and welcome back to another Godzilla Battle Line video. Today I'm going to be discussing the Season 8 meta, which is essentially the same as the Season 7 meta since there was only 3 total changes. And none of them really did anything to those characters to make them better or worse. They're just like slightly adjusted. And I wanted to make this video to show what you should be using. Now this is going to be a very high elo tier list since I play at the very top. So this might not apply to everyone, as depending on what rank you are and the people you play and the levels you have, it does dictate what is good and what is bad. But as far as I can tell from the thousands of matches I've played from the start of Season 7, this tier list will indicate that. We'll start with Anguirus D tier. Buff did absolutely nothing. The problem with Anguirus isn't that he wasn't tanky, it's the fact that he's so slow and never attacks anything. So he does 0 damage for 5 cost. He gets stun locked by Manila like insanely easy. There's no timing on that. He just gets stun locked. He's very bad. I think he should have had his cost reduced rather than have his health be buffed, because that for sure was not the problem. Like, G89's still tankier, and G89 gets blown up this meta, so Anguirus is pretty bad. Stealth Bomber, also D tier. I think if you did level Stealth Bomber to like level 30, it actually would be like kind of decent. Not that it'd be good, but it could do things like take out energy base and hit the leader. So if you ever like need something to flank, it could fill that role at a very, very high level. But I don't think a lot of people invested in it enough to use it. But I don't think Stealth Bomber is that terrible. Batra is S tier, best unit in the game right now for me. Batra and Batra Larva giving a 15-second 50% damage boost is pretty nuts. So every time you drop Batra, anything around it's going to get G89 boosted, no matter what cost they are. There's really nothing like Batra in the game that buffs as hard as it does. And Batra buffs itself, which makes it hit super hard. I think if they wanted to balance Batra out, they would maybe nerf it so that it can't buff itself. But how it is right now, it's absolutely dominant. And it makes everything just hit super hard. I do not rate larvas in the tier list. I include them with the character, by the way. So Biolante is a top of A tier pick. Biolante is 3 cost. Its stats are just kind of absurd for a 3 cost, and it gets a buff in water. It just has a lot of things going for it to make it really good. Even if the meta isn't like a ground meta, so it's not like hitting a lot of things, the fact that you have it tanking. So let's talk about like Kamacuras, right? You have Kamacuras for 2 costs. Kamacuras is terrible, right? It doesn't do anything really. The thing that Kamacuras does is take hits. So for Biolante, it's 1 more cost than Kamacuras, and I'm pretty sure a Biolante is going to take more than 3 hits from something and also do a lot of damage and clear. Like the AoE on Biolante is also massive. She's just really great. She's very spammable, and she's super OP in overtime. Just placing her in overtime over and over again is like super hard to stop. So it's very good. Destroy larvas, I'd probably put in C tier. They're pretty bad. I think anything like below B tier is like bad. Like, just don't run it. The problem with larvas is King Ghidorah, right? They just blow them up. Hedorah, things like that. I just don't see it. I just do not see it that often. I don't see people leveling it. 2 stars that fall behind in levels compared to everything else. So 2 stars are always a little underleveled, even like 3 stars. But swarms are not good. They haven't been good in a while. Do not use swarms. Dorats. Dorats I'll put in C tier. People that do level it are extremely rare. It's like rarer than getting a 4-star. That's how rare you'll find people who level Dorats. But I do think they are pretty good. as far as like tanking like Batra, and like I did see someone level them up a lot, and they actually do a pretty decent amount of damage. But I don't see enough of them to really gauge how good they are, and I don't use them because God knows I don't level them up. I don't got gold for that. So C tier for sure. Fire Rodan, probably my favorite kaiju in the game. C tier. I think season 5 was Fire Rodan's best season because G89 was a lot better that season. Fire Rodan to me's viability depends on how good G89 is doing in the meta, because speed boosting G89 with him is really, really strong. But G89 has fallen off with Batra buff. It's he just gets wrecked. Anything that's Batra buffed is just gonna wreck G89. He needs to be able to tank through things. It's the only way he could be good. And he's not able to do that with Batra. I mean, let's say G89 pushes on the leader. We'll just put G89 where I think he is now, actually. Yeah, but Fire Rodan's not good. He's super hard to evolve. And once you do get him evolved, if you can even do that, on some maps it feels so impossible. Like London, it feels impossible to evolve Fire Rodan. It's just like, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? There's nothing I can do. But yeah, besides that, I think Fire Rodan's fine still. I think his pre-evo, 3 cost, make it a little less risky, maybe even decrease the timer, but Mans needs some help in his evolution time. But Godzilla, G89 is B tier. Some of you might be thinking that's crazy, but this is a high elo tier list, right? So this is like when you play a lot of top players who are using a lot of pieces and have pretty much a lot of different pieces at a very nice level. But even my level 8 Batra can, with Kamacuras, right? Let a G89 push onto my leader. I place Kamacuras there, Batra buff my leader and the Kamacuras. That G89 is going down every single time. Every time. And that's a 7 energy cost to take it out. And it's not doing any damage back to my Batra. G89's he just can't function. He's very inconsistent. Obviously, if you get him on the leader, he's going to do damage, but it's way too inconsistent right now with the flyer meta especially. Not only that, when things kill G89, like let's say King Ghidorah, Super X, and Batra are hitting G89, he's not doing any damage back. So they're sitting there stalling, attacking him, killing him. And by the time they kill him, your enemy's probably going to have like at least 3 more energy to deploy something else. So then you're just getting fat pushed on because you ran G89 down and he did nothing. Very inconsistent. Stay away from him. B tier's okay. Like, you can make it work, but it's not meta by any means. Gigan is, I'd probably say he's better than Anguirus. Very bad though. Gigan has been bad forever. I don't think Gigan's ever been good. The thing with Gigan that makes him okay and not F tier is he could take out energy bases. And energy bases are very good. 5 cost is just so steep. Like, these two have the same problem, Anguirus and Gigan. 5 cost is so steep for a lackluster unit that does pretty much nothing to win the match. Decrease their cost. Help these guys out. Fan favorite kaijus. They're terrible. G21. G21 is probably at the top of C tier. I know there's a lot of G21 fans. There's a lot of people that like to use him. He's a lot better at the lower rank levels when everything's weaker, but as you climb, he's like impossible to use. I never see him. And it's not even like a level thing. Like, if someone had a level 10 G21, it wouldn't be run in the top levels. Like, I run a level 9 Batra. That thing is clean, right? It's killing everything. G21 level 10 is just not going to even do anything. Takes too long to attack. He's way too inconsistent. The only thing G21 has going for him is like a leader push. You want to push him onto the leader. He does not want to fight anything. You do not want to fight anything with G21. You want him on that leader, killing it. That's it. It's his only purpose, which is inconsistent and a lot of energy. So he's not good. If you're looking for wins, I'd stay away from G21. If you like G21 and want to make a team around him, great. This game's a video game, right? Let's have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's not very good. Ultima is like a bottom of A tier for me. Obviously, I include Terrestris in the ranking. which does decrease Ultima's value, because Ultima's obviously a great piece, but he just has too many answers to him right now, with Batra, King Ghidorah, Super X being like just the top of the meta. If you want to include him in that deck, that's just a super high cost. So then you'd have to run a completely separate deck without one of those 3 units, and it's just not as good, because Ultima can get King Caesar charged, he can get hit by Violante, he can get swarmed by Kamacuras and stalled out by those. I mean, it's pretty much the same exact things with Super X for defense, but G89 can get blasted on the ground. And King Caesar does hurt like a mother, especially if you like Batcher buff it or something. And not only that, Terrestris is very, very... I don't care what people say. It is so hard to evolve at the top. Like, everyone uses DT. Kamacuras just get eaten up by the Dimension Tide. That it's just very, very difficult to get him in there. Yeah, but I mean, A tier is still really good. You could obviously run Ultimate teams and find success. I just find it a lot more inconsistent. Hedorah is also like a bottom of A tier. Hedorah's always been okay, like good. You know, he's just a King Ghidorah clone almost. Like they have the same role. They do AoE damage. So you're looking to do AoE damage with Hedorah and King Ghidorah on things in the sky. Problem is Hedorah is so slow. He's just so insanely slow that he can't push, like, ever. And then you have to evolve him too, and it's like, I don't know. He's like, he's so weird. Like, I do things with him sometimes, and I'm like, dang, Hedorah's good. And then other times I'm like, dude, Hedorah did nothing this game. He did absolutely nothing. But I'm not seeing him as much, but I'd still put him in A tier for the fact that he is, like, if you didn't want to run King Ghidorah, you can run Hedorah, and he'll do, like, a similar job. So Hedorah's fine if you want to use him. But he's not, like, top 15 or whatever. Like, he should be the last thing you'd probably want to use in a meta deck. Jet Jaguar is B tier. Jet Jaguar gets absolutely nuked by Super X. It destroys his shields in 1 shot. Well, it's technically 3 shots, but his shields go down insanely fast, and a Jet Jaguar without his shields is a bad unit. He can't hit air. He has pretty low health because the shields kind of compensate for his lack of health, and his damage isn't, like, super high either. Like, I have a level 10 Jet Jaguar. It has, like, 1,700 health, like, 360 damage, I think. That's not that high. Like, let's compare that to, like, Biolante, who I have at, like, level 8. And she's doing 2,200 health and probably, I don't even know how much damage she'd do in the water. Probably, like, 600. Like, that, and it's a cost less. Yeah, it's wild. Jet Jaguar needs some kind of a buff because Super X absolutely takes him out of the meta. If Super X didn't take out his shields so quickly, like in 1 shot, and it took like 2 shots to actually take down the shields, I think Jet Jaguar would be a lot better. It would be a lot better tank to stall Super X, but as it is right now, it's his worst enemy. Funny how, like, certain decisions dictate a character's viability like that. But yeah, Jet Jaguar is just not that great. He's obviously runnable. B tier is like runnable to me. You can use it. You can win. It's just not going to be consistent. It's not going to be as good as things like S and A tier. Kamacuras, A tier. I'd honestly put it above Ultima and Hedorah. Kamacuras is just a great 2-cost unit. You need those low-cost units in the game. I see a lot of people run Biolante over Kamacuras, but you could still run Kamacuras because it counters Ultima, it counters Batra, it takes 3 shots from each of them to kill it, which lets you get 3 shots of whatever you have to kill their Ultima or Batra, so it's like a damage trade-off. It's kind of like in Mario Kart. You know, you see the noob in Mario Kart, right? And he gets the 3 green shells, and you watch him chuck all 3 of them and hit nobody. And then you see the pro guy in Mario Kart who holds the green shells around his cart like 3 shields. That is Kamacuras in a nutshell. All right, moving on. Kamacuras Swarm, S tier. Just kidding, it's very bad. D tier. Kamacuras Swarm is terrible. Gets taken out by Hedorah. Gets taken out by King Ghidorahs. Still around. It'll get taken out by Jet Jaguars. But, Violante especially. How could I forget that? Violante is going to destroy that. And you might think Kamacuras Swarm is going to stall out time for you and maybe eat out the Batra buff and things like that. But for 5 cost, that is way not worth it. It's not going to do any damage to anything most of the time. And it just stalls out their push and lets them get more energy to push with, making it harder on you. It's just not worth it all. King Caesar, A tier. King Caesar's always been great. He's always been an A tier, sometimes an S for me, which is debatable, but he is phenomenal. The thing I love about King Caesar is he moves so quick, so you don't have to drop him early. You can drop him late, and he'll catch up with the push. He also takes leader aggro. So when you're like Batra and King Ghidorah are on their leader, your Batra goes down pretty quick when it's on the leader. It takes a lot of damage. So if you King Caesar charge, King Caesar is going to eat all that aggro and let those two work. So King Caesar is almost like there's just nothing like him, you know. I mean, you could say Leo's similar, but like Leo still is like a little ranged. Like King Caesar just fills so many roles for a team that just makes him so great. He's obviously phenomenal at killing terrestrious larvas, and just a great unit. Not to mention him with a Batra buff is really nuts. King Ghidorah is still going to be an S tier for me. The reason King Ghidorah is an S tier is because he works so well with Batra and Super X. And the AoE clear. Not having AoE clear is tough. And you need to run like King Ghidorah or Hedorah to me. Jet Jaguar is kind of not, he's not really there. And you could obviously run Violante too. But the AoE is really for Batra, because people Batra buff their King Ghidorahs all the time. And you need another King Ghidorah to hit both of them at the same time, preferably with your own Batra buff. I just don't see how you're doing damage to that. Like, let's say if you played Hedorah into Batra and King Ghidorah, both buffed. Hedorah is going to get an attack or two in, but he's not going to kill him or even be close. So King Ghidorah is still great for 7 cost. Don't let the cost fool you. It still combos well with Super X. I still do the same exact stall combo with those two. And he's a great unit. Kong. Oh, Kong. Probably right there. Kong's just... He's bad. He's bad. You know, I said Kong should be 5 cost in that cost change video? Well, Anguirus is 5 cost. How does that sound? Kong, I think, would still be bad at 5 cost. And now Anguirus is also 5 cost. Who is bad? The tanks are just so bad. They're fundamentally just bad. G89 is the only okay one. In this meta, he's not that good at all. I don't know how you fix these, because Kong has no special abilities, right? He's kind of like, why is he even a 4-star? He just walks and punches things. Like, where's the special bonus that I'm supposed to be getting? Where's the cool effect? There's just none of that. Not tanky enough, not enough pieces. I mean, like, things like... I mean, my Violante right now is level 8. My Batra is level 9. I can use those at the very top against any player and get wins. If you have a Kong or a G21 at level 9, level 8, there's no chance that is winning. It's just not. So it's not even a level issue. It's these characters are not good. They're just fundamentally flawed. I love Godzilla and Kong 21. They're really cool, and I hope they... get more. I hope they come back and get more pieces in the future, but they're just not good units. They're not. Emboss. That's what these are called, right? Emboss? I always forget. I always confuse them with Macalite cannons, because look at these things. These are cannons. Anyways. See, I just did it right there. Emboss are terrible. 4 cost for, like, a Manila, essentially, that... It's so bad. Just get it out. Get it out of here. If they made it Emba 2 cost, I could see that being okay. But I don't know. Even at 2 cost, I think it would just be a little niche. It's just kind of a useless unit. Never run it. Mechagodzilla, I'll put in B tier. Mechagodzilla is always a B tier. I've never dropped him lower. He's just okay. I'd stay away from him. He doesn't do anything special. He's slow, but he attacks everything. He's pretty tanky, but he's not gonna like push into the enemy and do like wonders for you. There's just better things you could be running. There's not really much to say about Mecha Godzilla. He's pretty basic. Everyone knows what he does. It's just aight. He's just aight. Mega Gearus. A tier for sure. Above King Caesar. Mega Gearus right now with the meta G89. So G89 leaders are dominating the high elo meta right now because Batra, King Ghidorah, Super X are all 5 costs and above who benefit from that buff, which is 50%. You Batra buff everything, they get a 50% buff. It runs out, then you G89 buff, you win the game. That's 30 seconds of 50% damage boost. Mega Gearus fits into that role perfectly because she is also 5 cost, and her DPS is really, really good. And you know how I was saying King Caesar is like something that takes the aggro for Batra and King Ghidorah when it's on the leader? Mega Gearus does that as well and hits very, very hard. And she's a great defensive option. So not only is she like an offensive option, because that's where a lot of people do not use Mega Gearus, right? Is she can be an offensive option. You do not have to use her as a slower on defense. She's pretty quick, she's tanky, and she hits hard. Send her out. Let her do damage. Let her fight normally. You do not have to use that ability all the time. It's just an option, you guys. You don't have to use it. But she's great. Definitely top of A tier. Great unit. I ran her all last season. She was phenomenal. Manila is also... where do I put Manila? I'll probably put him right behind Kamacuras. I think Kamacuras is a little better than Manila right now as far as like what it can do. They obviously do very different things. But if you're looking for a 2 cost to put in your deck, I think Kamacuras does have a slight edge against Manila. Of course, it's all deck dependent on what your enemy and what you're using. I think both are fine, both are viable. Manila does pretty well into Batra, could stun lock it nicely. It really sucks against King Ghidorah because it speeds up King Ghidorah's attack speed. And Manila's good. You know, everyone knows Manila just does what he does. He waddles around, he shoots smoke rings at people, and they get stunned. Mogira. Mogira is going to be pretty high A tier for me. Mogira's great. He has him being reduced to 5 cost was huge. Huge, because now you can take out energy base and get him a net 1 cost. Not only can he take out energy base, he'll go hit the leader after, which will do chip damage, which forces your enemy to deploy something like Kamacuras to stall that out, or King Caesar. And what that does is it just gives you a nice flow, right? It puts your enemy on his back foot. It puts you in control of the game from the start. The only thing is people don't invest in Mogira because there's not a lot of gold to go around. You can't level up everything. And if you do, you're going to fall behind. That is a way to play. But if you're looking to climb, you need to stick with like 8 units that you're just investing in and you just know are good. But Mogira is great. He's good at taking out Super X. He's good at end game pushes when you need to take out the leader. You put him behind. He draws the aggro. He gets G89 buffed as well. He's just very nice. He's not overpowered. He's not like anything crazy. He just does very well into this meta. Mothra. Mothra is B tier. She's probably one of the weaker flyers in the game, despite Fire Rodan. I think Fire Rodan's actually pretty good attacker once he's evolved, but like that, it's never going to happen, right? Mothra, on the other hand, takes longer to evolve than Batra, which is... That is the funniest thing I ever heard. Mothra larva takes longer to evolve than Batra larva. Let that sink in for you. Yeah, that's not balanced. Can we fix this, please? I hate Batra right now. I use it all the time. It's just so OP. But Mothra is in a bad place. She gets bodied by Batra. She gets bodied by King Ghidorah. These things are Batra buff the whole time. So she's getting absolutely just wrecked by Super X, King Ghidorah, Batra. Those things are nuking her. Obviously, she could do well against King Ghidorah heads up by himself. But if you're deploying King Ghidorah like that at a high elo, like you're pretty bad. If you're not deploying things with Batra, it doesn't really make sense. Mothra is she's just whatever. Like, I don't even try to take out her larva form. She's just not that good. Mothra Leo is in a similar boat. It's a little underleveled. Even the ones that do level it up, it's... I don't know. I don't know what about Mothra Leo. Sometimes she could do okay, like, against me, but most of the time she's just getting, like... If you have the right pieces, like Kamacuras, it absolutely wrecks Mothra Leo's life. And even Space Godzilla, like, she just gets so disorientated. If there's any multiple units around her, she's just, like, spinning in circles, not knowing what to do, and it takes her a while to attack. And even when she gets her charge off on the leader, it's not even that much damage. She's okay. You can run her if you want, but there's a lot better options. Rodan. I don't know if I'd put Rodan over Mechagodzilla. I think I might. Nobody really runs Rodan, but I still think he is okay. He's very fast and hits pretty hard. The thing that I like about Rodan in an ideal situation is kind of the same thing with Megaguirus, how I was saying you could use her as an offensive option. That's Rodan's role as well. You'd use them the same way. You blitz them on the side, let them get to the leader, and take that leader aggro while your Batra and King Ghidorah do damage. He's also pretty fast and hits hard enough to take out larvas if you want to blitz one. So he's not like super useless, but he's not very good by any means. He's just okay. There's a lot better things you could be running. I think Rodan needs a little buff. But oh, excuse me. But other than that, he's all right. Space Godzilla. I think Space Godzilla is the very, very bottom of A tier for me. Space Godzilla is so weird. I just can't get a grasp on him. Sometimes I'm like, Space Godzilla is amazing. And other times I'm like, Space Godzilla did nothing. And I think it's all dependent on... It's very RNG dependent, where you need Space Godzilla to utilize his 2 crystals in front and be able to stall things. And sometimes he walks in front and gets hit first. Sometimes other things happen. He's very debatable, top of B, bottom of A, but I will put him at bottom of A because I do see some success with it, more than G89. And he costs 1 less, and he hits Batra back, and Batra has to hit the crystals first, and things like that. So I think Space Godzilla is okay if you want to run him. You can work around that. Not saying it'll be easy. He's at the bottom of A tier. There's nothing below him. But he's just good enough to where I think like some teams could work well with him. Super X. Super X, S tier, above King Ghidorah. Yeah, Super X is insane. Everyone knows it's insane. It's been insane since it came out. People said once it got nerfed from 3 to 5 that it was going to be useless. I knew it wasn't. Range is OP. I've always said range is the most OP thing in the game. Super X has the highest range in the game. Deals like 400 damage at like level 25. It's hits super hard, and now it gets G89 boosted. It's a really good piece. And it combos super well with Batra and King Ghidorah, especially King Ghidorah, because you could spawn Super X, and then once you get 7 energy, you place King Ghidorah right in front of Super X, almost like Super X is inside King Ghidorah's butt, right? And it poops out Super X, like it shoots him back a little bit. And that stalls out like 1 energy, that's like some very high level meta stuff right there. Just that 1 energy adds to your push. But yeah, those 3 are the only S tiers, spoiler alert, for this tier list. They're phenomenal. Any team not running these 3 is very hard to beat. They're just really good. The meta hasn't changed from last season, and those 3 are just super dominant. I don't think there's anything really better that you can run with Batra that utilizes it as well. Those three push super well together. And, oh, my mistake. Actually, I said my mistake because I thought Dimension Tide might be S tier, but it's tough. It's tough. I don't think Dimension Tide is S tier. I think it is top of A tier right now. It is so close, though. It is. Dimension Tide is insanity. I think before, Dimension Tide was honestly really good at 5 costs, even though everyone said it was trash, including myself. But no one took the time to use it or level it up till now. But at 5 costs, I'm still thinking it'd be pretty good, because what it does is it sucks everything in, letting you pretty much damage all of it. The Dimension Tide does pretty nice damage itself on top of whatever you're using to attack with it. And it cancels auto attacks. It cancels like Batra, King Ghidorah. Like when they're doing an attack and you Dimension Tide them, it like cancels it. Super crazy. But the main reason Dimension Tide's good is for pulling Super X in front of your King Ghidorah. It's very, very good combo. And it kind of neutralizes Super X most of the time, especially on defense when it's sitting behind the leader. But Dimension Tide, top of A, it's a great unit. I started using it at level 5. That's right, mine is level 5. And it's still great. Like, I was just using it to take out Super X's, and it worked fine. Obviously, it didn't do any damage, but honestly, it doesn't have to. That's just a little bonus you get. So, Dimension Tide is phenomenal. Use it. Sonde, I'll put Sonde right behind Godzilla. Sonde, a lot of people like it. I personally do not. I think Sonde has problems where slowing units, so you slow enemy units, stalls their push, letting them gain more energy. Like, why do you place G89 or Space Godzilla behind a building, right? You place them behind a building to stall more time, so they have to walk around or they have to hit the building. So Sonding things slows them down, stalling more time. There are plays you can make with Sonde in the midfield to win trades, sure. But one bad Sonde could ruin your day. And it's just not worth running to me. It's just not. I see people combo with Dimension Tide to take out Super X, but you don't have to do that. You could just take it out with, pull it into a King Ghidorah or something. But it's not bad. B tier is not bad. You know, you could use those if you want. If you like them, if you got a high level, use them. Sonde for me, just I don't like it that much. But I respect enough to put it in B tier. Missile Strike, C tier. I actually saw some Japanese player combo their high-level Kiryu with a Missile Strike, and I actually really liked it. It did a lot of damage, but it's just not good. You could use it to take out energy base. I mean, realistically, you could put it in B tier for its ability to take out energy base, but it's not the best option for that, so I would just leave it in C. Psychic Chorus. Psychic Chorus probably D tier. I just don't see it. It could be good. I don't know what a level 30 Psychic Chorus looks like on certain things, but I don't think anyone does. No one has the gold to really like risk that investment. No one does it. And if they do, they already gave up on it because I never see it. Moving on. Train Bomb, B tier. With Mogira and Kiryu being in the meta, even Dimension Tides taking out energy base sometimes. You don't really need Train Bomb. It is the perfect, absolute perfect counter to energy base. And it takes it out insanely quick. And there's no counterplay to it. So there's nothing wrong with running Train Bomb. It's just just a little better to run Mogira, in my opinion. He has more utility, or Kiryu. So Train Bomb's a B tier pick for me. Helicopters. You already know where this is going. To the F tier for effing bad. Helicopters are terrible. I think they'd be better if their missiles didn't despawn when they died, but they do, and they always die. So, pretty bad. Energy base, I'll put it right behind Mogira. Energy base is phenomenal. If your energy base stays up all game, over and over, it is OP. I will say it time and time again. It is OP. It opens huge windows for pushes. It gives you more energy to push with. It gives you more time to throw out units together. You want units always going together. Units that walk together, fight together, and win together. If you send them one by one, they're not going to do as much. That's what makes energy base really good. It opens up combos that you normally wouldn't be able to do, such as the Batra Super X King Ghidorah combo. If you're not stalling your Super X and King Ghidorah or anything, you need energy base for all three of those to get buffed most of the time. Yeah, Mac Light Cannon. Pretty bad. C tier. It gets outranged by Super X, which is hilarious, making it essentially useless. Could be good in overtime. I never see it. I don't know. Emba base. I'll put it around C tier, like right here. It's not as bad as helicopter base, but it isn't very good. It can stall out some things and do like some little work, but I don't think it's anything that's gonna win you the game. You might think it's helping you win, but it's really like not doing too much. Descadora. Yeah, Descadora. I think Descadora is actually okay. I think it's a good unit if it had more pieces. And I will put it in the bottom of B tier, actually, just for that. It does do super well into Super X in the future, I'm sure, in ranked battles, because I like to place my Super X behind King Ghidorah. Descadora would absolutely massacre that. And I also think Descadora is very misused. I think Descadora is designed as a super defensive piece. So what you want to do with Descadora is stop pushes with it, because it shoots that long straight beam, which isn't going to be great for pushing with, but it is going to be good for defending when things are pushing into you, pushing into that straight line of fire. I think there's a lot to be discovered with Descadora. Most lower level players would understand it better, like I said in a past video. I just don't see it, and I don't know how effective it could really be in the meta. Kiryu is going to go right behind. I'll put it right there. Kiryu and Mogira are like two birds of the same feather, but Kiryu is a little underleveled. I saw level 8 Kiryu, and it was awesome. It beat me, actually. And most people don't have that level 8 Kiryu, but if you did, I would run it, because you can G89 boost it. You can place it behind the leader. You can take out energy bases. You can take out larvas. There's a lot of things you could do with Kiryu. It has AoE compared to Mogira. I just think Mogira is way easier to have at a higher level. It's one less cost. And if you're using a level 5 Kiryu compared to a Mogira, it's just not... I don't think it's that worth it. I think Kiryu needs those 3 levels. I think it needs to be 7. It needs to be 8. I feel like 8 is that magic number where I'm seeing it being pretty good. But I haven't seen that super often at all. But Kiryu will find a place in the meta as he gets more pieces. The rest are larva units. This is pretty much everything ranked. And the last thing that I'm going to add is the 2 missing monsters, Burning Godzilla and Godzilla 1954. Obviously, they're new, so they're not going to be good. As far as Burning Godzilla goes, he has grown on me a little better. I thought he was, like, god-awful, but I think he's just meh now. I'd probably put him in C tier. And Godzilla 54, I'd probably put in D tier. He's pretty terrible. I mean, he turns into... So Godzilla 54 could turn into Terrestrius, G89, and Burning Godzilla. Burning Godzilla is very underleveled, so you never want him turning into that. Godzilla terrestris is Godzilla terrestris, a pre-evolution unit that is hard to evolve, so you never want him turning into that. So then you're like a 33% chance to get G89. So you're playing 7 costs for a 33% chance to get -2 costs on your G89 for your next push. And then it has to happen again. It's just not good. It's very niche. It's very gimmicky. It's a cool design, and I think it can be good in the future as more Godzillas get introduced into the game. But right now it's pretty trash. All right, and that is going to be my tier list. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think. If you think anything should be higher, anything should be lower. This is all gauged off of my personal preference in this game and what I see. I know there's a lot of different opinions, and I'm just doing the best I can to make sure you guys understand what is happening in the high elo meta. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.